In this lesson, you'll learn how to adjust white balance in Camera Raw. I've opened up this image, which is the Practice Image 3, Practice Photoshop 3, and I'll let you go ahead and open this one up. Go ahead and close the old one that you were working on last if you're following along. The white balance settings are over here in our adjustment panel. And just so that you understand how this sort of panel works is there's a number of tabs up at the top that show different kind of styles of editing, different things you can do. And then most of them you adjust with sliders. Sliding to the left or right, you can adjust these settings. Double clicking will adjust it back to the original that it had, or you can type in a specific temperature over here or number for these settings. So I'm going to go back, and for white balance, you have this drop down menu and you have different presets. So you have as shot, and this will depend on if you're editing a RAW photo or a JPEG photo. If you have a RAW photo, you'll have a lot of these options. If you have a JPEG photo, you might not see all of these options. So if you say, oh, my lighting was tungsten, then I would adjust to this preset, and that looks pretty good. If I said this was daylight, it would look really, really off because the light that was actually in my scene was not daylight. It was very much warmer than daylight, and that's why the image now looks a lot warmer than daylight. You can use sort of an auto setting where Photoshop will try to adjust it to look proper, or you can do custom. And that's usually what I do. I start from as shot, and then I'll adjust this slider up and down. Now the thing is, I know sort of the temperature of these lights was somewhere between 2700 and 3200. 3200 is your traditional sort of tungsten light, but I think these lights were even warmer than that sort of traditional light bulb. So if I go down to like 2700 or I type in 2700, that's going to look pretty darn good, pretty spot on. You also have under white balance tint, which goes from green to magenta. Depending on if you are under sort of fluorescent lights or different types of light sources, you might need to adjust the tint slightly to make it look a little bit more natural. So here it was originally at 2, which I think works pretty good. If you want to give it a certain tint, you can by just dragging to the left or right. Okay? So that's basically how you adjust white balance, and you try to get the most perfect white balance possible. The easiest way is if you know the light temperature of the light source, you can just plug it in right there. I'm going to cancel this, and then I'm going to open up another image. Let's open up this raw image in Photoshop. Go to File, Open. We're going to actually do this JPEG. Choose Options so that we can open it the format as Camera Raw. Then click Open. And you'll see that the white balance settings are only as shot, auto, or custom. And that's because it doesn't have all that raw data that allows us to choose one of those presets because this is a JPEG image. In this example, Photoshop doesn't really know the starting point. So you might be saying, well, we know the temperature of our light source is the sun, and so we know daylight is around 5600 Kelvin, but if we type that in, wow, this is not the proper white balance. That is way too warm. And when you are editing a JPEG image, Photoshop will only allow you to adjust the temperature from -100 to +100, which is a very different scale than sort of the Kelvin scale that was used for the raw photo. So I just wanted to show you the difference so you understand that there are some limitations when shooting JPEG, and that's why we recommend that you shoot in RAW. Okay, that's white balance. In the next lesson, we'll be looking at exposure.